Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. And welcome back to the CX Revival project. I actually took this for a small test drive the other day. Unfortunately, I had some issues with the camera, so nothing was recorded. But it turns out that it's actually driving pretty decent. Of course, I have stuff to do before it's MOT ready, but I just wanted to make sure that the cooling system and the engine was all right and not overheating and all that. And oh, by the way, look what I got. I got a manual. A viewer called Max reached out to me and asked me if I wanted this. And of course I wanted this. This is really good because there's so much stuff in this that I can use. Normally you can find almost everything you need on the internet, but it takes a lot of time. So a Haynes manual on the car you work on is brilliant. So thank you, Max. And already now I have used it to figure out what the oil pressure light sensor is supposed to react to. And it turns out that everything less than between 7 and 9.8 psi of oil pressure at idle will turn the oil light on the dashboard. And why did I need to know that? And that is because when the engine got really hot on the test drive, not overheating, but just up to running temperature, at idle, I had a flickering oil light. Remember when I did the engine assessment video and didn't really test the oil pressure because I thought it's most likely just fine. It turns out that I have an oil pressure issue on this one. But after a bit of research and a small talk with a guy who knows a lot about these Citroens, actually the guy who delivered this car to me, he told me that in his experience, 10W40 oil is too thin for this engine. And that is the oil that I put into this engine. According to the manual, at least, it's supposed to be running, I think, 15 W40. So 10 W40 should be all right because it's the later number that actually matters when the engine is up to temperature. But in his experience, it should take 20 W50. And also this engine, if it is the original one, got 400,000 kilometers on the clock. So it is worn. The oil pressure is going to be lower than when it was new. So what I hope to do in this video is to just drain the oil. Then I'm going to fill in the correct oil, or at least the 20 W50 oil. Start it up again, heat it up, and hopefully that flickering light will go away. I'm pretty hopeful and pretty optimistic because it really needs to be hot. All the electrical stuff needs to be on for the problem to come, and the light is just flickering. So we are just on the limit of that oil sensor light kicking on. So I think with thicker oil, it would be fine. I'm also going to remove the sensor and rig up my, because now I actually found the sensor. So I'm going to take that out and test the actual pressure to see what it is, because the sensor could also be the issue actually. So let's do that. And hopefully we don't have any serious problem. The reason why it's squeaking is that I'm loading up the system badly with air conditioning and everything, and the battery is almost dead, so the generator is really producing a lot of power right now just to power, just to put a load on the engine, and I'm not seeing any oil light flicker, and I'm really happy about that. The engine is now hot, just as hot as before. The pressure looks fine. I'm not seeing that light. Now it's really hot, actually, the water temperature, but still no flickering light. And that is even with a leak on the system because of my oil gauge setup wasn't really a snug fit. I couldn't really tighten it up. So I'm happy with this. So just as I hoped, the oil pressure problem went away with a thicker grade oil. classic oil, 20W50 classic mineral oil with a lot of zinc in it, seems to have done the trick on the engine. Now the light doesn't turn on, the engine seems to be fine. At least to get it through an MOT, then we'll see down the road if it needs some work. But now I want to continue work on some of the rust. So this is the rust spot that I hope to fix in this video at least. But I'm going to take you through the journey of trying to fix this area. This is a pretty complicated shape for a guy like me. I could go ahead and try to find a car that I could cut a piece from or buy the entire rear fender. But I'm going to try to repair it as best as I can. Remember, I'm not going for perfect. And also, this area is pretty hidden by this rubber. So actually it's almost invisible. It's only up here and down here that will be visible from the outside. But what I'm going to try to make is to firstly make this curvature down here and this ledge and stop it right there. Then I'm gonna make a piece like this that I weld onto the edge of the first piece. I'm gonna make everything off the car and then in the end weld it on. So firstly this piece down here, and then make this one. And then the last piece is inside the door, right in here. I'm gonna make this piece and weld that together with the other piece. And then in the end, make one repair panel out of 3 pieces and then weld it in. So let's do that. This is the final result for the repair panel on the rear of the CX. I think it's going to turn out pretty nice, especially with that rubber line going over most of it, so it won't be that visible. But I have grinded it pretty flush around the edges. On the rear I haven't done much because this will add to the strength of the panel, so it's just left like that. What I'm going to do now is to fit it, and then I'm going to weld it up. I will just do that and then take you back when it's all welded up. I will take my time to avoid having it warp too much, and then see you in a bit. So after a bit of welding, this is the point that I'm at now. I'm gonna start grinding and grinding and grinding. I think it turned out pretty well. Also did a couple of spot welds down here and burned through one place. And still need to weld that gap right there. I forgot about that. But I'm just gonna start grinding anyway. There is a bit of warpage, and it's hard to avoid, especially with the patience that I got. I just have a hard time waiting. It's pretty decent, I think. So this is what I have ended up with. This is the final result. I need to, of course, put filler on it and paint it and all that. But I'm gonna wait with that because I have so much more rust work to do on this car before, and it would be nice to just have a filler day and a paint day, if you know what I mean. So, but this is the result, and I think it's really decent. I do have a warpage right around here. It goes in a little bit, so I need to start the filler all the way up here to make it smooth, but it will be just fine. One thing that isn't that good is the edge right there. It is a bit lower than where it's supposed to be. It's a bit better down here, but yeah, all in all, I'm happy with this result. And remember, this is how it's going to look in the end. So that is decent. So I think I'm gonna call this a day. Progress is made. I now know that the oil pressure might be a little bit low, but it's good enough with the new oil. And I have started with some of the more complicated rust repairs. There is a lot to do still. I think I'm going to make quite a lot of the rust off camera just to get some progress in this project, because I want this on the road ASAP. So yeah, this is all for now. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.